Jean-Paul Sartre was a literary giant who embodied the existential crisis of the 20th century, his words still piercing the veil of human freedom and responsibility today. His life was a tangled web of philosophy, politics, and personal turmoil, marked by a defiant commitment to living authentically in the face of absurdity. Sartre's unflinching gaze into the abyss of human existence makes his story a necessary confrontation for anyone brave enough to face the darkness and the light that defines us all. Sartre's early life was marked by a sense of abandonment and dislocation. Born in Paris in 1905 to Jean-Baptiste Sartre, a naval officer, and Annie Marie Schweitzer, a cousin of Albert Schweitzer, his father died when he was just 15 months old. This event would later influence his concept of existence precedes essence, as he felt the weight of creating his own identity without a paternal figure. His mother, struggling to raise him alone, moved back to her parents' home in Meudon, where Sartre spent most of his childhood. Growing up, Sartre was a shy and introverted child, often finding solace in reading and writing. His grandfather, Charles Schweitzer, a linguist and teacher, played a significant role in nurturing his love for literature and philosophy. Under his guidance, Sartre devoured the works of the old masters, Dickens, Dostoevsky, and Shakespeare, developing a deep appreciation for the written word. This foundation would serve him well as he navigated the tumultuous world of 20th-century French philosophy. As he entered his teenage years, Sartre's fascination with philosophy grew, particularly with the ideas of Henri Bergson and Immanuel Kant. He attended the Lycée Montaigne in Paris, where he excelled academically and began to forge his own philosophical path. It was during this period that he met his lifelong friend and fellow philosopher, Paul Mazin. Together, they would engage in heated debates about politics, literature, and the human condition, laying the groundwork for Sartre's future intellectual pursuits. Sartre's educational journey took him to the École Normale Supérieure, one of France's most prestigious institutions, where he studied philosophy alongside notable thinkers like Raymond Aron and Maurice Merleau-Ponty. It was here that he began to develop his concept of existentialism, which would become the hallmark of his philosophical and literary work. His experiences during this time, including a stint in the French army and a period of teaching in Le Havre, further shaped his ideas about freedom, responsibility, and the human condition. As Sartre delved deeper into his writing, he began to explore themes that would become central to his oeuvre: the absurdity of human existence, the importance of individual freedom, and the inevitability of choice. The historical context in which he wrote A Europe Torn Apart by War, Fascism, and Social Upheaval only added to the urgency and relevance of his ideas. Sartre's relationships with his contemporaries were complex and multifaceted. He was part of a circle of influential thinkers that included Simone de Beauvoir, Albert Camus, and Martin Heidegger, among others. These friendships and intellectual exchanges had a profound impact on his work, as he engaged in debates and discussions that refined his ideas and challenged him to think more deeply about the human condition. His romance with Simone de Beauvoir, in particular, was a defining aspect of his life, with the two sharing a commitment to philosophy, literature, and social activism. Sartre's time at the École Normale Supérieure was a crucible for his thoughts on existentialism, where he began to hone his ideas about human freedom and responsibility. It was during this period that he met Maurice Merleau-Ponty, a philosopher who would later become a close friend and intellectual sparring partner. Their debates about the nature of reality and human perception laid the groundwork for Sartre's concept of being for itself, which posits that human beings have the unique ability to choose their own path in life. As Sartre delved deeper into his philosophical ideas, he began to see the world as a place where individuals must take responsibility for their choices. This notion is perhaps best illustrated by his concept of bad faith, which refers to the tendency for people to deny or escape the reality of their own freedom. It's an idea that he would explore in depth in his seminal work, Being and Nothingness, a philosophical treatise that lays out his existentialist framework in stark, unflinching terms. Sartre's experiences during World War II also had a profound impact on his thinking. As a soldier in the French army, he was captured by the Germans and spent time in a prisoner of war camp. This period of captivity gave him a unique perspective on the human condition, and he began to see the ways in which individuals can find freedom even in the most constrained circumstances. It's a theme that he would explore in his play No Exit, where three characters are trapped in a room together, forced to confront the reality of their own choices and the consequences that follow. Sartre's relationship with Simone de Beauvoir was also deeply influential during this period. The two met in the 1920s, and their romance would last for over 50 years. De Beauvoir was not only Sartre's partner, but also his intellectual equal, and the two engaged in intense debates about philosophy, literature, and politics. Her own work, particularly The Second Sex, would go on to have a profound impact on feminist thought, and her influence can be seen in many of Sartre's key ideas about human freedom and responsibility. As Sartre's career progressed, he became increasingly involved in the intellectual and cultural scene of post-war France. He was a key figure in the development of existentialism, and his ideas about human freedom and responsibility resonated with a generation of young people who were looking for new ways to think about the world. His writing was not without controversy, however, and some critics accused him of being overly pessimistic or even nihilistic. Nevertheless, Sartre's work continues to be widely read and studied today, and his ideas remain a powerful influence on contemporary thought. Sartre's experiences during World War II had a profound impact on his thinking, and it was during this time that he began to develop his concept of existence precedes essence. This idea, which would become a central tenet of existentialism, posits that individuals are not defined by their inherent nature or characteristics, but rather by their choices and actions. As Sartre himself said, "Man is condemned to be free, because once thrown into the world, he is forced to choose." It's a powerful exploration of the human condition, and one that showcases Sartre's unique blend of philosophical inquiry and literary craftsmanship. Despite these criticisms, Sartre's work continued to evolve and mature, and he went on to produce some of his most important works, including Being and Nothingness and Critique of Dialectical Reason. These works showcase Sartre's unique ability to blend philosophy and literature and cemented his reputation as one of the most important thinkers of the 20th century. Sartre's relationship with Simone de Beauvoir also continued to play a significant role in his life and work. The two remained close, both personally and intellectually, and their conversations and debates had a profound impact on Sartre's thinking. As the years passed, Sartre became increasingly involved in political activism, and he was a vocal critic of colonialism and social injustice. His work during this period was marked by a sense of urgency and commitment, and he was willing to take risks and challenge authority in order to speak truth to power. It's a testament to his courage and conviction, and a reminder that even the most complex and nuanced ideas can have real-world consequences. Sartre's later work, particularly his critique of dialectical reason, marked a significant shift in his thinking as he began to explore the possibilities of collective action and social change. This work was influenced by his involvement with the French Communist Party and his growing interest in Marxism and socialist theory. However, Sartre's relationship with communism was complex and often contentious, and he was critical of the party's dogmatic ideology and authoritarian tendencies. As Sartre's involvement with the French Communist Party deepened, he found himself at odds with the party's rigid ideology and authoritarian tendencies. Despite these reservations, he remained committed to the cause of social justice and continued to explore the possibilities of collective action and social change in his work. This period saw the publication of his Critique of Dialectical Reason, a sprawling philosophical treatise that sought to reconcile the principles of existentialism with the insights of Marxist theory. Through this work, Sartre grappled with the complexities of human freedom and responsibility in the face of oppressive social structures. He argued that individuals are not merely passive recipients of historical forces, but rather active agents capable of shaping their own destinies through collective action. This emphasis on human agency and moral responsibility marked a significant shift in Sartre's thinking, as he began to prioritize the importance of social context and material conditions in shaping individual choices. Sartre's relationships with his contemporaries continued to play a vital role in shaping his thought during this period. His friendship with Simone de Beauvoir remained particularly close, and their conversations and debates had a profound impact on his work. De Beauvoir's own writing, particularly her seminal feminist text, The Second Sex, would go on to have a profound influence on Sartre's thinking about issues of oppression and liberation. As Sartre's reputation as a public intellectual grew, so too did the controversies surrounding his work. Critics accused him of being overly pessimistic or even nihilistic in his assessment of human nature and the possibilities for social change. Others saw him as a reckless provocateur, willing to challenge authority and convention at any cost. Despite these criticisms, Sartre remained committed to his core principles of intellectual honesty and moral responsibility, and continued to produce work that challenged and provoked his readers. One of the most significant controversies surrounding Sartre's work during this period centered on his concept of bad faith, or the tendency for individuals to deny or repress their own freedom and responsibility. Sartre argued that bad faith was a pervasive feature of modern life, as individuals sought to escape the burdens of moral responsibility through various forms of self-deception and rationalization. This idea sparked intense debate among philosophers and critics, with some accusing Sartre of being overly dismissive of human nature and others seeing him as a courageous truth-teller. Through his work on bad faith, Sartre shed light on the complex and often fraught relationship between individual freedom and social context. He showed how individuals are shaped by their surroundings, and yet also possess the capacity to resist, challenge, and transform those same circumstances through their choices and actions. This nuanced understanding of human agency and moral responsibility remains one of Sartre's most enduring contributions to modern thought, and continues to inspire new generations of readers and thinkers today. He got right the fundamental human impulse to seek freedom and responsibility, and he left behind a body of work that continues to challenge and inspire us to this day. His ideas about bad faith, human agency, and moral responsibility remain eerily relevant in our own era of social upheaval and personal crisis. As Sartre himself once wrote, "Man is condemned to be free, because once thrown into the world, he is forced to choose." These words still resonate deeply, a testament to the enduring power of Sartre's thought. Like this episode if it hit true. Share it if you respect honest talk about authors. Subscribe, because we'll do this again. This is Ernest, signing off.